I think that we've got a tremendous challenge this week, no question. You watch Clemson on tape, and they're hitting on all cylinders. I mean, they're scoring on defense and special teams, scoring in droves on offense. And very athletic. The young freshman receiver is a tremendous player. And you couple that with the Ellington, the tight end, the other receivers, and their quarterback is playing extremely well, too. So offensively, a bunch of weapons, and defense as usual, big physical guys that run well. So it'll be a heck of a challenge for us on Saturday. We're coming off 2 weeks that we'd like to think are substandard for us. Certainly we've got to play better and have more efficiency offensively than we've had, and look forward to the challenge. It ought to be a great atmosphere here Saturday night.
Yeah, I wonder, even though it's a traditional offense, when you install something like that, some kids, kind of have to take a leap of faith because it's not as commonplace. How much does success on the field help and big wins help, and that showing kids that, hey, that this offense can have success against the best in the nation from a recruiting perspective?
Well, I think anytime you're successful, it helps, but we've got a pretty long track record. We've been doing this for a long time, and we've had a lot of guys in the offense that are playing in the NFL and a lot of guys that have been successful. So I think that there's a lot that you can point to. But any time that you can have, the more success you can have, the better it's going to be, certainly. And the more production that guys have at certain positions, it's easier to sell, no question.
Since you mentioned the substandard, to use your word, play of the last couple of weeks, what's been kind of the focus this week about, okay, let's fix this or improve that, and we'll be back to standards?
Well, we've just got to do better in a lot of areas. I mean, we've got to play better. We shored up our rush defense a little bit last week. I mean, it was terrible at Virginia. And we've got to be more efficient offensively. It's this is the type of game where, you give them 16, 17 possessions like they're used to playing, they're going to score some points. So, if we can make this game an 8 or 10 possession game and we can be efficient on our end, and that's the way you want to play this game. You don't want to keep giving them the ball over and over with a chance. Just you break down. I looked at the Virginia Tech North Carolina games. I mean, they had, one of them was like 16 possessions, the other 18. So if they get that many possessions, they're going to score some points.
So by efficient, you just mean you just hang on to the ball as much as possible, long drives, that kind of thing, or? Well,
you just want to, you want to be efficient. Our games the last couple of weeks, and historically the way we play, there's not that many possessions in the game.
Right.
But what we have to do is we need to be more efficient on offense and get points out of our possessions, and then it puts a little more pressure on the other side. Then the last couple of weeks we've fallen behind, and you're your own worst enemy when you eat up 6-7 minutes off the clock on a drive and you don't score, because it just takes. We went down 21-7 last week, and we come out in the third quarter and we take a drive and go 7.5 minutes and don't score. I think we had the ball 4 times in the second half, which means if that's the way you're going to play, if you're down 2 touchdowns, you better score every time you have it, or you're not going to have a chance.
You see the situation with Jay Finch, he got hurt last week. How is he coming along, and what are the chances he might be able to play this week?
Well, he's got a sprain. It's not as bad as we thought, but he's questionable. It'd be a stretch for him to play this week, probably. I don't know that we've ruled him totally out, but it'd be a stretch.
So would Nick Ray come in then, or would you shuffle things?
We've got a couple options. He'll probably start the game. We've got a couple options. We've got some guys who have been injured that are back out there now, and they may play some as well.
Paul, I was just curious, how important are angles and the geometry of the game?
Well, it's important, I think. I mean, it's a numbers game, and you're trying to get numbers and angles on people and leverage. And, there's no question it's important, but there's still the old adage, physical superiority cancels all theory. So you can have angles and whatever you need, but if they're bigger and more powerful and faster, it still makes it a little tough.
Coach Tevin has tried to publicly kind of take some of the blame on his own shoulders for some of the offensive struggles the last couple of weeks. To what extent can you? I mean, is it fair to pinpoint it like that? And what sort of things is he maybe struggling with now that he was doing so well earlier?
Well, I don't think it's ever fair to put everything on one guy's shoulders. It's a team game. There's a lot of things that we haven't done well. What's really happened is we've gotten away from big plays. We haven't when we've had the chance to get them, or when we have had them, we've had our 3 biggest plays the last 2 weeks called back by penalties. And, you can't do that. He threw the ball. He was throwing the ball better early in the year. And I think he's just pressing and rushing, and, he just needs to relax and play and not try to put too much on himself, and just play the game, and he'll be fine.
Coach, special teams have been kind of a burr under the saddle for you. Talk a little bit about that and how it kind of complicates what you've tried to do.
Well, it was a killer last week for sure. I mean, we haven't kicked the ball very well. That's the start when you're playing special teams. And really going into last week, the punt return team was number 1 in the conference going into the game a week ago, and we had a couple of young guys make some mistakes, which is going to happen when you play young guys. We didn't field the ball, and we tried to field when we shouldn't have fielded, and gave up a touchdown, and didn't cover the kick right before halftime particularly well. It was supposed to be a deep kick, and we hit it on the line drive on the ground. So it's, some things like that. But I think when you lose, it becomes a bigger issue. Certainly we haven't played special teams the way we would like. I'm not saying that it's not an issue, but, you watch the Clemson game, and North Carolina returns a kick for a touchdown. But it's not as big a deal because Clemson won 59 to whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's in games that you lose in close games, it becomes a bigger issue, and it's something that we got to clean up.
And if I may, St. John Days, is he available this week? I understand he took a pretty good hit the other day.
Oh yeah, no, he's fine.
So may Clemson see him?
Possibly. I mean, we'll just see. We don't have any plans for that right now, but very possibly he could play, yeah.